Appreciate you joining us tonight. Welcome to tonight's induction of the 2022 Glenville State University first Elam Hall of Fame class. Tonight's induction class is a very special group representing several eras and 6 different Glenville State sports. This class has truly made history. A common Hall of Fame induction includes coaches with a lot of wins, student athletes who put up strong numbers and earned accolades as all-conference or all-American. This group tonight has not only produced these kinds of conflicts, but has also made history by touching so many communities, organizations, and so many countless individuals along the way. Plus tonight we got a strong Gilmer County presence in this ceremony. We have 2 players going in together who were on that famous 1945 state championship Normantown team, which we're going to talk about a few times, and we're also on the 1951 WBIAC tournament championship team. They're going in together tonight. This is also a very unique class in a way that, for several other reasons in terms of history. Again, we talked about this back in August. This class tonight officially gets us back on track. With the challenges of the pandemic, a lot of institutions are faced with the dilemma to skip a class or do a pair of inductions the same night. Here at Glenville, we tackled the challenge of not skipping a class and giving everyone their own night and doing the work and the funding and the Hutch and this group here about getting us caught up. We honored the 2020 class in 21, we honored the 2021 class 2 months ago in August, and tonight we have the 2022 class going in the 2022 calendar year. So we give three of these inductions in 11 months. A lot of moving parts. It was a big undertaking, but tonight we are honoring the Hall of Fame class of 2022. And now I want to bring to the podium for a few words my boss, as Glenville's 26th president, Dr. Martin Manchin, has overseen the move to the aforementioned university status. He's presided over the addition of several academic programs, including nursing, and the move to the graduate programs. And I want to say, Steve Gandy and I have spoken several times, how great it is having a boss here that understands the value of history. And this night, celebrates the history of this great institution. So here he is, the legend from Farmington, West Virginia, Dr. Mark Manchin.
I think a legend in his own mind, but what a pleasure. How much I enjoy this. And you talk about history. I've lived most of it. And you know what makes this so exciting? Growing up here in West Virginia, north central West Virginia, but being pretty much traveling throughout the state of West Virginia, is not only the honorees tonight, and by the way, I was reading your biographies, and I was amazed. Not only were you great on the field of athletics, not only are you Hall of Famers tonight, those who are being honored for your athletic prowess, but you're Hall of Famers in life. And that really impressed me, how much of a difference you've made. So, but as I come here tonight, now I had about an hour and a half speech I wanted to give tonight. But Brian Bubba Hill said he's going to talk an hour and a half, so I said, oh, there you go. But not only am I so excited to be here for those who are being inducted, but for their families. As I talk to people, as I come in, my family was very active in West Virginia, and so many of those who went on to be successful, who've left Glenville State College, now university, and been successful in life, either political fields, medical fields, or whatever. I meet their families again, and so many people have said, hey, I remember your father, and I said, I remember your father, and you hear the names. I used to hear so many different names in my household of people who went on to be successful. Many went to Glenville State University. There's no way I could have known just a few years ago that I'd be standing here as your president. No way I would have ever thought that. But what an honor it has been for me to be the president, and what an honor for me to be here tonight to honor these great athletes, but more importantly, great people. So with that said, thank you. Thank you for being here. Once a pioneer, always a pioneer. Thank you all.
Okay, we're going to move on here to the next piece for tonight, which will be the meal. We give a special shout out to the Aramark food staff and the leadership of Alex Garrett, Jordan Squires, and Shannon Mayo for the food presentation this evening. And at this time, I'd like to turn to Willie Furr, admin assistant in the athletic department, to give our blessing.
Let us bow our heads in a word of prayer, please. Our most graciously Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to be here this evening, this day that you've blessed us with. We thank you for allowing all of these people that have gathered here this evening, those to see ones they may have not seen in many, many years. Let us be blessed with the people that are being honored tonight, dear Lord, that are going into our Hall of Fame, those inductees. The ones that are here this evening, we're so blessed to have. Those that may be represented by family members, let us remember those, and we thank you for being here as well, too. And let us remember those that have been inducted, that are being inducted tonight, to remember a portion of their lives that they gave to this great institution. We're blessed to be able to put them into the Hall of Fame, their induction, and we thank you again for this great day. And as we leave here this evening, let all those that have traveled, wherever they come from, let us all travel back to our endeavors and destination safely. And all these things we ask in your great, heavenly, precious name, Jesus. Amen.
Okay, now we enjoy the evening's meal. We'll have two lines operating on each side here at the food table. We'll begin with the tables nearest the food. So we will be back with you here shortly to go on with the service. Thank you. Tonight, we have Tim Moore, Bill Lilly, Steve Gandy, and John Lilly. Give them a big round of applause. Now, as of tonight, we now have 126 members in the Glenville State Curtis Elam Hall of Fame. That is out of over 15,000 student athletes and coaches over these 150 years. Think about that. Over 15,000 student athletes and coaches, and only 126 in after this. That gives you an idea of how exclusive a club this is to be a part of. Several of our past inductees are in the house tonight. We'd ask them to now stand. Existing Hall of Fame members, please stand. I want to give some thanks here. Next, our Glenville alumni director, Connor Ferguson. He's doing a tremendous job and has put so much into this event. We also have the former alumni director who not only gave decades of service in this capacity, but was extremely instrumental in the admin development of this Hall of Fame, Miss Debbie Nagy. There's Debbie. We have the executive director of the Glenville Foundation, Vice President David Hutchison. Hutchison staff just completed a record year of fundraising. A big thank you to those who do our marketing efforts for events such as these and this one and so many others on campus. We have our Director of Marketing and Public Relations, Dustin Crutchfield, and Sports Information Director, Lex Shaker. At this time, I would ask that members of the athletic department on hand tonight to please stand. Members of the athletic department, athletic trainers, coaches. Yes, I'm going to give, first off, I'm going to give some kudos to what's happening here. We've got the, last year, as everyone's well aware, you know, our women's basketball team won the national championship. Yep, and yeah. We also had 3 programs finish runner-up in the league. We had our wrestling program, women's golf, and baseball all runner-up last year. And the men's track team got 3rd. But also, I want to say that in the spring semester was a record year in the classroom. 13 of our 17 teams had team GPAs over 3.0. So I want to big shout, very proud of that. And on the academic end, I want to give a shout to our faculty athletics representative, Dr. Dwight Heaster, out here. He's been there for many years. And members of the administration also on hand, besides President Manchin and Vice President Hutchison, we have Vice President Jason Yeager, Vice President Rita Helmick in the house. Jason Yeager was actually on the first defensive unit that Bubba Hill ever coached, his first position group. We saw that picture today. Both of them had hair. It was pretty cool. I can't speak. But in the greatest importance, I want to get a big hand and extend a massive thank you, not only from the athletic department, from the entire university, for the long time kindness and generosity of the Morris family. Okay, now what we have been waiting for here. Established in 2001, the purpose of the Glenville State University Curtis Elam Hall of Fame is to recognize, honor, and promote the accomplishments, achievements, leadership, and contributions of former athletes, members of the media, and other individuals who have advanced the athletic programs at Glenville State University. Now, our first inductee could not be with us tonight. And we'll speak on his behalf here. Mike Eberbaugh is one of the all-time greats in the history of the Glenville State University basketball program. He remains one of only 2 players in Glenville history that averaged a double-double every season of his career while he was here. Think about that. Averaged a double-double all 4 years. Eberbaugh was a star at Charleston High School, leading the Mountain Lions to a pair of state tournaments. They lost to Woodrow Wilson in the 1957 state championship game. And coming to Glenville, Eberbaugh, he joined fellow Kanawha County stars Tim Carney of Dunbar and Larry Gandy of Herbert Hoover. Well, it was Clendenin at the time, so I got you there. Both future Hall of Famers as well. Eberbaugh also played with future Hall of Famer Russ Shepard and for Hall of Fame coaches Leland Bird and Jesse Lilly. He averaged 18 points as a junior, then 22.4 as a senior, and 12.2 rebounds, earning all-conference honors. Now, 60 years later, he remains 6th on the all-time scoring list and 9th on the all-time rebound list. When he graduated, he was 2nd on the all-time, 3rd on the all-time scoring list, only behind the legends Rudy Poole and Bob Hooks Hardman. He enjoyed a long career as a teacher and coach before going into administration and worked for the Putnam County Board of Education. He was a superintendent in Tucker County and Grant County in West Virginia and Bullitt County in Kentucky. After retirement, he moved back into West Virginia, settled in Kanawha County. He's now 81, and he remains an icon in Glenville basketball history. Let's hear it for Mike Eberbaugh. So now we're going on to our next inductee, and the protocol here is following the speech. We would ask that the inductees stay up here. We're going to present one of the books and have a photo on site here with Dr. Manchin. So, for our next inductee, Glenville and Normantown legend Tex Gaynor. When I came to Glenville in 1983, one of the first things I learned pretty quickly that everyone knew the name Tex Gaynor. To preface the conversation on Gaynor later in the evening with Glenard Vannoy, you often hear the movie Hoosier referenced. In reality, the Normantown High School state title in 1945 was a much more unlikely miracle. Back then, the entire state of West Virginia, like in the movie, played in just one class. And Normantown beat all the big boys. Beat them all. You know, in the movie, Milan, Indiana, Milan has a population of 2,114 people. There's not 2,000 people who live in Normantown. I'm telling you. I try there all the time. Not only was it a miracle for them getting there, had to beat a talented Morgantown team in the semifinals, and later that night, the Logan squad 50-49 in the championship game. Gaynor was one of the stars on that team, making second team All-State. After serving in the military, Gaynor returned to the county and joined the Glenville basketball team in 1948. And on the Normantown deal, in March of '45, we were still in the middle of World War II. It was a couple months away from D-Day, 6 months away from the defeat of Japan, and the country was being gas rationed at the time. And I've seen, some of the articles on that. And it's amazing because they had to get past Glenville, a great team, with Dixie Barrett and the group here. And then they had to go to the WI from Carlsberg in the regional, and then but they said how many people from the western end of the county had to physically get 7 or 8 people into cars to carpool with the back of trucks, and there wasn't any interstate back then to get up there at Morgantown, and said Normantown had ever get as many people supporting them up there as the big boys. So when Tex came back here in 1948, mid-year, he joined Leonard Vannoy and fellow Gilbert County Hooks Hardman on that team. And he also got to play 1 semester with Glenville star Jesse Lilly, who was a senior at that time. He carved out a solid career here, and on the 1951 team, he captured the WBIC tournament, advanced to the national tournament. Gainer was the second leading scorer and top rebounder on that team. And back to pre-interstate, the Nationals was in Kansas City, and the entire team went there in 3 cars. Players, coaches, think about that back then on the 2-lane roads. They went out there and got some wins out there. Actually represented well, went deep in the tournament. After college, Gainer enjoyed a long and decorated career as a teacher, coach, administrator, and local politician. And the great Earl Tex Gainer passed away in 1990, being inducted posthumously. And here to accept this honor on his behalf tonight is his son, Mark Gainer.
Dr. Manson, Mr. Skiles, Mr. Ferguson, members of the Hall of Fame Selection Committee, faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Glenville State University, 2022 inductees, relatives, friends, and honored guests. I'm so pleased to be standing before you this evening. It is my distinct privilege to accept the induction of my father, Earl J. Tex Gainer, into the Curtis Elam Athletic Hall of Fame. I am so honored to be present with the other 2022 inductees, previous Hall of Fame members, and their families. My father was so proud of Glenville State University and the success of the athletic teams of which he was a member and all other teams. He faithfully followed athletics here until the time of his death. I am so proud of my father's achievements as an athlete, coach, teacher, administrator, county commissioner, public servant, and most of all, as a father and as a person. My only regret is that both my father and mother have passed on and are not here to celebrate tonight. Thank you so much to everyone involved in Dad's selection for this honor and to all those who are in attendance. I also offer a special note of gratitude to all my father's teammates. I am appreciative of all the kindness shown to my family and myself. This occasion is made even more exciting and touching in that Glenard Vannoy is also being inducted. Glenard was Dad's fellow team member on both the 45 Normantown High School State Basketball Championship and the 51 Glenville State College Basketball Tournament Championship, and was a very special person to my father. Personally, I feel tonight is in some ways a celebration of both the Glenville State and Normantown championships. Both events were proud and important moments in my father's life. I offer special acknowledgement to my wife, Dreama, our children, Justin and Carolyn, who are present, and our eldest son, Jason, who was unable to be with us this evening, as well as some special people who are up for us, such as my cousin Larry and his wife, Sharon, my cousin Gary and his wife, Connie, my cousin Lance, great friends and great people, Bob and Wayne Turner, Tim Moore, who I could spend a whole evening telling you some stories about. But the only thing I'll say about Tim, and the only piece of advice I'll give this evening is probably you don't want to ride a scrambler with him when the county fair comes or the county market. You can ask him later about that, and I'm sure he'll be glad to explain to that. Also, Mr. Steve Gandy here tonight, Bill and John Lilly, Willie Burr, Mrs. Mary Bland Whiting, Mrs. Janet James Bailey, Mrs. Debbie Nagin. Thank you all. You all have meant so much to myself and to my father. Your kindness, help, friendship, and in many cases love can never be repaid or adequately expressed by me. I do appreciate it so much. Once again, thanks to everyone involved in this process, May God bless always, and long live Glenville State University. That's taken me a little bit to get used to too. Because when I went here, it's Glenville State College. But anyway, let's go Pioneers. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. Now for the next inductee, star defensive lineman Brian Hill, affectionately known as Bubba. Brian came to Glenville in the fall of 1986, that's my senior year. Hill had been teammates at Liberty High School with Glenville standout John Lipscomb, one of my good friends in here, and fellow RA back in class, my fellow class of '87. So several of us had already heard our share of Bubba's stories long before he arrived here on the Hill. Bubs quickly became one of the most popular individuals on campus. He remained one of the funniest guys I've ever met. His smile lights up a room. Now working at Glenville, his positivity is always a bright spot in the day for so many of our students. Brian Hill was a quick and agile defensive lineman who was a matchup nightmare for opposing teams. In 1988, he broke the Glenville single-season record for tackles in a season with 125. He played on some great defensive units, was a first-team All-WBIC performer. I was talking about with Todd and Tubba, the guys today here, on there with Barry Mitchell and Luther Tony. Todd's brother Don was here today. After college, Hill enjoyed a long and successful career in the coaching ranks on the college level. He's now in his second year back at his alma mater. It's so wonderful to have him back home, serving as the school's chief diversity officer and the football program's defensive coordinator. Got an email last night from John, who I mentioned to, and of course John married Ramonda Hoover from over in Lewis County, and they're coming back for homecoming. They couldn't get away, but he said, "Would you read this for me for Bubba?" He said, "Bubs, in the spring of 1986, when I heard you were coming to Glenville, I was pleased that I had a fellow Liberty grad come and join me. Also because I was the only one wearing a size 8.5 helmet at the time, and I knew you would join me in that. But I also warned that you would live up to all the hype that I told everybody about you. You not only met those expectations, you exceeded them. And I consider it such a privilege to have played with you at GSC and get to play with you in both high school and college. You're not only an exceptional athlete, but also a phenomenal person, and I am honored to call you friend. Congratulations on this accomplishment." He is a coach who's made a difference in so many lives and continues to do so. Good friend I'm so proud of. Hall of Famer, Brian Hill.
We moved all over across the country. Track coast football, do what I love. And she's been there. At my side. And my daughter, Imogen. Daughter. Say, you look alike. You think you look alike? I think I'm good looking, you know, so she's beautiful. All right? I love you, Imogen. I'm proud of you. She cries more than I do after the game. I said, that's okay, we won today. We won. She said, I know, Daddy. Oh, my family. Ooh. Ooh. You got. Ooh, my parents. My mom could be here. She means a lot to me, but my sister, Donna. Ooh, stand up. She raised my mom's disabled. She made sure I got my brother on the school bus every day. She preached to me every day. Brian, you gotta do this, Brian, you gotta do this. You guys wonder why I went crazy when I come to Glenville. I had to get away from her. She preached to me every day. To my sister Dee Dee, oh, Dee, I love you. I love you, Dee Dee. She's an ordained minister, so I have to be real good. Real good, you guys know what I mean? I can't have no holy water till she leaves. And my family, I love you guys. Love you guys. But man, this is a heck of an honor, man. Heck of an honor. And the one guy, you know, I didn't have much. I was poor. I was poor. Man, everybody knows it. But one guy always, man. I used to go hang out with him on Sundays. We play basketball. He's not going to make this, but I will. I wanted to play basketball with my best friend, just right there. Because on Sundays, the Subway's about one get one free sub. Guess who got the free sub? Yeah. So after a while, he said, hey, bud, you can pitch in sooner or later. And I want to say thank you, Jeff, and Val. Man, you're a class act, man. Yeah, I mean, if anybody looks at that guy right there, he can give you a shirt off your back, but he want it back, though. He give it to you, but he tell you, I didn't get that back. Make sure you clean it, okay? And then my other family, Jackie, Rachel, this is the other half, this is my outlaws, I call them. That's my outlaw side of the family. My beautiful lady, cousin over Amber and Elam, thank you guys for being here, man. I mean, thank you guys. Hey, come on now. The man right there, the silver fox, come on, fellas. I mean, the guy gave me an opportunity. Now, we ain't gonna talk about this opportunity to give me a little more around, we'll leave that alone, all right? But I love you because you know what? He brought me back home. He brought me back home to Glenville State University. He didn't have to. There's 9 million other people who could hire me this morning, and he brought me here. He said, I'm gonna bring you home. And that meant so much to me. I love you, Michael. Even though you yelled cussing a little bit to that, that's fine. I can handle it. I can handle it. All right? His beautiful wife, Missy, been through a lot. She's still here to fight me every day. Missy, we love you, Missy. She walks the dogs, takes the trash out, and I'm like, what the hell's your husband at? He said, no, I didn't know she was taking the dogs out, dog. Oh, really? We only got 7 of them over there. And one of my favorite coaches, man, that young guy right there, Anthony Kelly, I'm telling you, man, when you can sit on the sideline, and I'm yelling and going crazy, and he cussed to his arm, he cussed, all right? A little bit. And he looked at me and said, Coach, it's a linebacker, but he's not fit right. For a young coach to admit that he coached, that's the position he coached, and he admits that, you're going to be a hell of a coach, man. You're going to be a hell of a coach, I promise you, man. You stay focused, you're going to be a hell of a coach. Thank you for being here. He usually don't like coming to things like this, but it means a lot to me being here, all right? And well, I'll tell you, the toughest, the meanest, the nastiest prick I've ever been around, Todd Leahy, that's something right there. You talk about a tough son of a gun, my freshman, sophomore year, he used to beat the dog crap out of me. But we grew together, it was like a family. Toby boy, love him, love him. He gave me a ride every week home. Every weekend he gave me a ride home on the off season. He picked me up, dropped me off to the loop, he never drove to PK because he didn't want to. He said, what PK stand for? Support kids. I said, I ain't gonna embarrass him, we ain't gonna work for that. But tell me, Todd, you thank you. Look at it, I love him, man. You guys don't understand what we went through when we went to Glenville here. This is our family. You guys are family. There's no better place in the world I'd rather be than right here at Glenville State University. And Justice House, that son of a gun. Are you kidding me? That man, he works 24/7. He sleeps on his damn couch. Only time I sit on my couch, my wife kicks me out. Well, he saves him. Oh, Jesse, go home. Great guy. I'm telling you, supportive. He'll fight it. He'll help our team. He'll help every sport team in America. He is awesome. Great friend. And Dr. Nancy, come on now. If we get the best damn president in the country, I don't know what I've done. I mean, Tiffany and these, look at that suit they made that on. I mean, I call him Ric Flair all the time. I mean, he's dressed for success. And they're all so supportive of what we're doing here. He gave me an opportunity to be chief diversity officer here. It means a lot to me. All right? I was nervous as hell when I first walked in. My family wasn't here yet. I was trying to even it up a little bit. I was nervous. I said, well, my family shows up. I'm a little nervous, fella. But it means so much to me to be up here and be inducted as a Hall of Fame. I mean, it just hit me. I'll tell you how bad I'm crazy it was. Rick Trickett calls me. He said, hey, bud, tell him that picture plaque right beside mine. Oh, well, hell no. But one last thing is a guy named Tom Hilton, who was my high school football coach. And you guys might not believe this, but I was 5'9", about 300 pounds back then. He gave me an opportunity. My first practice at Liberty High School, he's about to start walking. You get to know where you'll make it. You'll never make it. You got to just walk and lose weight. That season, I lost a little weight, played a little bit, not much. My junior year, I came out and wrestled, lost about 185, almost 200 pounds. Wrestled 185 my first wrestling match, and I thank him because he gave me that opportunity. I mean, he did. He really gave me an opportunity, and it meant a lot to me with Coach Hilton. He can't be here. He's a high school coach in Bridgeport right now, but it's been a lot to me. A guy took his chance from me and said, all right, Bubba, here you go. Just start walking, the exercise, stuff like that. I called later, he'll tell you, he called me the other night, well, thank me and everything like that. And he goes, I called him back and said, Todd, I'm sorry I missed your call, man. I was working out on the treadmill. He started at him, Bubba, you son of a gun, you ain't changing. I'm not going to change. I'm going to have fun. I like it. I love it here at Glenville State University. And the staff, Coach McIntyre, do a great job, man. Great technical. He's long 17 years. Coach, I've seen him one forever. But I said, how the hell you been for 16 years? Well, he knows some secrets y'all don't know, though, all right? I'm trying to tell you, when you marry his wife says he's hard to marry, it does help, too. All right? But seriously, on a serious note, love you guys. When I come to work, it means something. To wake up in the morning and come to work with Dr. Minix and Justice Scouts and everybody in this room, it means something. All right? It means that I want to be here each and every day, and every day I want to live it to the fullest. That's what life's all about. And everybody in this room is family. I call Jason here because Jason, one of my kids, did this, and this. He'll go get it done for us. Dr. Manson, the same way. Justice Scouts, the same way. Anybody in this room, I'd call and ask them to help me with something, they would help us. That's why this school is so special. This is what it means to me to be up in front of you guys right now. It's awesome. You guys do a great job, and we all work together. Yeah, we all know we don't get paid a lot of money, but that's what we do. We stay together as one heartbeat. It's a family atmosphere as well, each and every day. I was nervous as heck. I was like, oh, God, what are you going to do now? I was working at halftime. I was just 14 off. I said, people want me to be able to cuss at me already. I said, okay, that's the birds back there cussing me. He said, Bubba, don't embarrass me, Bubba. I know Bert, leave me alone, Bert. I know. We come out and make our adjustments. And come down after the game, we went, hey, good job, I want to thank you. Right? That's what it's about. We got guys that care. All right? I love you guys. You don't understand what this means to me. It means so much to my family. They raised me. Oh, I love Donna. Oh, I love you. You guys don't know. We had 6 kids, 3 boys, 3 girls. We had one still bedroom. Stayed. They took care. People say they went through trouble, rough times, and they stayed together. And that's what family's about. That's what all you guys in this room means so much to me. Now, I know I'm rambling on, Mike. I'm sorry, you knucklehead. I owe you $1,000. You said I bet you $1,000 above a cry, so I'm not crying. Hey, call Jason, he'll take care of it for me. Hey. Once a pioneer, always a pioneer. Thank you.
Okay, a little sidebar on that, about a little poetic justice and how some things work. We, remember last year in October, when we inducted the class and Andy Gerald went in, his two boys finished 1-2 that day in a cross-country meet up in PA. Today, when Bubba went in, his defense coordinator, his defense set a couple records. Mountain East School, 8 takeaways today, 7 picks and fumble recoveries by his defense today. On the day he went in. Our next inductee was a standout golfer for Glenville during a golden era in the program under Hall of Fame head coach Tim Carney. An amazing dynasty, because they also had 7 runner-up. They had 12 championships in a 23-year span from 1972 to 94, and also had 7 runner-up finishes in that span. Amazing stretch. Jim Scott was a star on several of those teams in the late 70s, earning WVIAC Player of the Year in 76. And the previous year in 75, he won the individual title at the league championships. Coach Carney had talked to him when we talked about Jimmy before about how steady of a player he was. He kept it together, was steady. Even the great ones would be up and down occasionally, right up down. Brady, Crislip, a lot of the great players later with Forrest and son Scott. But he said Jimmy Scott was always kept it between the beacons, was steady. Year in, year out, year in, year out. Steady, all through his career. And he led them to several championships during his career here. Scott continued to play golf after his time at GSC. Remained living in the area, neighboring the Ritchie County, the county seat of Harrisville over there. This man is a true legend of the Glenville State golf program during its greatest dynasty. Here he is, Hall of Famer Jim Scott.
Coach Hill? Yes, sir. Would you want to come up and talk for me? I mean, I'm not a talker, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But I just wanted to let my brothers and sisters know that I'm not going to talk about the streaking or, let's see, there was another story I used to tell on this. And that's what I did. I guess Coach thought I was steady or something, but I was an aggravation more than anything. And I'm not going to go into any of that. I want to thank the guys that play golf. Bobcat Wilson, Joe Keener, Terry Crislip, Nick Nicely. That was my freshman year. And then my next year we added Rick Simmons and David Thompson. They were just great people to be around. And then the next year we added a Lily boy. What was his name? John, yeah. John Lilly and Jim Brady. And then my last year we added Greg Del Prince. And we just had a good time. We competed and did things we were supposed to do. Well, they did. I was the black sheep or the ordinary one or whatever. And I'm only going to tell this one story, and this one story represents me from the time when I played at Harrisville High School until I played on the Air Force team or anything else. But this story best describes how I competed. We were playing in a 2-day tournament at Canaan Valley, and Terry Crislip, he's my partner. He always has been, he always will be. But we're up there on the putting green putting. We're running late. We run down to the practice tee to hit some balls and warm up. And we get down there and the place is full and we're clear at the end. And Terry's standing there and I'm standing behind him. And I hit my first ball and I shanked it. It goes right up the aisle where all the other golfers were. And Terry looks at me and I go, Terry, I've got the shanks. And he's you know, what are you doing? And I'm just shanking them and they're going up there and I'm yelling at him and everything. And but that was what I did. That my whole life has been, I would pull stunts like that. I'd get everybody on Glenville State campus, all down at Pickens Hall, and they were sitting there wondering, and I come walking and I said, well, what's everybody doing out here? They said, well, there's going to be a streaker come by. I had to tell them. And I'm sitting there, I'm going like, well, me and Mickey McDonald were up there. We called over to the Pickens Hall, Scott's side over there, the girls' dorm, said there's going to be a streaker come by at midnight. Well, when by the time it was done, all Louis Bennett Hall and Pickens Hall were all out there looking, and I'm sitting there like, ooh, am I going to do this? I'm going like, no, I'm not going to do that. Because every state police, county sheriff, the college police, they were all stationed all around Pickens Hall, and I'm sitting there looking like, oh, no, we better not do this now. So that's the way I did everything. I had fun, and it was usually fun that I paid the price for it. Now, I never hurt anybody, but I used to aggravate Coach Carter. We somehow called him Chilicon. And there was times where I know he was ready to wring my neck, but he always put up with me. I was an aggravation and stuff like that to him. But I had fun. I really enjoyed my time at Glenville. And if it wasn't for Coach Carney, I would never have been here. Because I finished high school, I wasn't going to go to college. I wasn't an academic person. I wasn't good at going to school or anything. And even while I was here at Glenville, I didn't do very well. But I did well enough to make it through. But I wish that Coach Carney and some of the guys could have been here because I'd like to see them. But I'll see them in a couple of weeks when we have coaches outing. I go over there and I get to see the guys and tell stories and sit there and listen to the stories they tell about me. And I go, I cannot deny whatever they say. It's probably true. Coach Carney, he came over to Harrisville and sat there in our living room, talked to my mom and dad. And I looked over at mom and dad and said, I'm not an academic person. I'm not going to be able to go to college or anything like that. My mom and dad said, yeah, you can do it. Coach Carney, he said, we have tutors and stuff, we'll help you. And he got me through 4 years. And, but that was the start of me being successful at everything I've done from that point on. Through my time in the Air Force, I remember my oldest brother, Johnny, sitting back here. I was working in 82 or 81, and the company I was working for went out of business here in West Virginia, moving back up to somewhere above Columbus, and they offered me a job, and I'm saying, shoot, I thought Glenville was a long ways off, and I couldn't go up there. But Johnny, he told me, he said, well, Jim, you're going to the Air Force. Off I went. Had a great time. I've always been able to listen to Coach Carney or some growing up or someone. I always listened to them and tried to do what they said. But they had to pay for talking to me because I aggravated the crap out of them. And my family here, they're what I've always done, everything I've done for is because I try to make them proud. And I know they're here now, and they're prouder than I am because I just never thought anything like this would ever happen with me because I never looked for anything like this. I always just worked hard and played hard, and just took care of my son, my daughter, and my grandson, my brothers and sisters. I'm still doing that, and I love every second. And it all started with Coach Carney getting me out of Harrisville and getting me into over here, and then Glenville always putting up with me. I just wanted to thank them all, my brothers and my sisters, Coach Carney and the golf team and everything, for putting up with me for all those years. And I just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you all.
Okay, now for our next inductees. Again, we mentioned again earlier in Mark Gaynor's speech about the connection with Tex Gaynor and Leonard Vannoy, about the friendship they had and all they accomplished together. Leonard Vannoy was a multi-sport star both at Normantown High School and later at Glenville State. In the epic championship run in the 1945 Normantown squad, Vannoy was a tall and athletic guard that was named captain of the All-State team. With only one class at that time, Vannoy's naming of captain of that unit by the State Sports Writers Association made him the State Player of the Year in West Virginia basketball in 1945. And we talked about the Hoosiers rep about being more about we're trying to get the stats. Maybe we'll get Sarah Brooks. Normantown only had less than 100 students at the time, correct? I think they graduated 23, and they beat Logan, who had close to 350 graduates. That's just an amazing story. But after serving in the military after high school, Vannoy came to Glenville in the fall of '47, immediately became a starter both in basketball and baseball here. In basketball, he was a 4-year starter and was a key player on that famous 51 squad that won the WBIC tournament. And in baseball, Vannoy was the premier power hitter in WBIC there at the midpoint of the century. He went on to a professional career in baseball, playing in the minor leagues in the early 1950s. after Glenville spent over 3 decades as a teacher and coach in the public schools. You know, in reference to the Normantown Championship that's been chronicled in the book called Normantown 1945. Is that correct, Tim? And Tim Morris shared with me some of the great work that Vannoy's great-granddaughter Brooke has done with the project she did, and really highlighted a lot and diving into that research. I think Brooke's here with us now. I'm going to give her a shout out there, Brooke. Right there she is. Has done some great work here. And Leonard Vannoy, he passed away in 2015 and is being inducted posthumously. Here to accept on his behalf is his granddaughter, Sarah Tingley.
Short and sweet. Some other ones. Thank you. On behalf of my grandfather, Glenard Vannoy, I would like to thank Glenville State University for this distinguished honor. I would also like to thank all of those that have made this honor possible. My grandfather was a remarkable man and athlete. He was the youngest of 9 children from Lower Run in Gilmer County. He grew up in Stumptown and attended Normantown High School. He was a member of the 1945 Normantown State Championship basketball team, and he was also named captain of the All-State team. The newspaper reporter at the time wrote, "This youngster, while only a junior, was the stoutest spoke in the wheel for the little Gilmer County team, which came out of nowhere to win the state title, one of the finest rebounders ever seen in the state." Vannoy was a cool, clever leader who performed like a veteran at all times. He was the steady influence of the state champions. 50 years later, his coach said he was the best athlete he ever had. After the state tournament, he went into the service and spent 18 months as a special investigator with the military police in Florence, Italy. Upon his return from Europe, he tried out for the Marshall basketball team coached by Cam Henderson. He made the decision not to attend Marshall, but to return back home to Gilmer County and attend Glenville State College and play basketball with his fellow teammate from Normantown, Tex Gaynor. They, together with Bob Hartman, comprised the nucleus of the 1951 WBIAC championship team. Also, while Glenville State, my grandfather played outfield and first base on the baseball team. After graduating, he moved to Staunton, Virginia, and in 1953 played first base on the semi-pro Staunton Braves baseball team. During this year, he helped lead the team to their conference championship. In 8 years, from 1945 to 1952, Glenard Vannoy played in 3 championship teams at 3 different levels of competition and in 2 different sports. From 1952 to 1985, he taught physical education, health, and driver's education, as well as coached basketball, soccer, baseball, and JV football in Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. My grandfather left a legacy throughout Gilmer County for many generations to come. My children were never able to meet my grandfather, but through his basketball accomplishments, my daughter Brooke was able to learn a great deal about her great-grandfather for a special studies project. My grandfather was a gentle giant, and as a child, I remember that he was just a huge man. But I knew when he spoke, I needed to listen to him. This honor means a great deal to our family. Again, on behalf of my grandfather, Glenard Vannoy, and our family, we thank you for this honor and recognize what an amazing athlete and man he was.
Our next inductee of the evening is a true pioneer in every sense of the word in women's sports, both at Glenville and in the region. The Title IX legislation was passed in the U.S. in 1972. In the immediate following years, women's programs began to spring up at colleges and high schools all across the nation. Star athlete Kim West was here at ground zero in the birth of women's intercollegiate sports becoming a big part of the campus landscape. She was on the first Lady Pioneer basketball team in 1975 and the first volleyball team as well the following fall. She averaged double figures throughout her career and graduated as the school's all-time leading scorer at that time. And I tell you that, she's got former athletic director Janet K. Bailey over here, who was on that team in '76 with Gene Davis. By the way, y'all read it in the book, Janet was the second leading scorer on the team. And that they got two leading scorers right there. And that's when the team really began to move forward. It started to get wins, and then evolved into the tradition that you see today. It all started right there. After Glenville, West spent a long and successful career as a teacher in the public schools. She has also served as a stellar official for the WVSSAC, has been a major proponent advocate for the growth and support of women's sports. And she was one of the first grades, period, here, graduated as the school's all-time leading scorer when she graduated back in the late 70s. Here she is, the great Kim West.
I'm not a speech giver. I talked to Dustin earlier today, and he told me, I was like, I don't want to do this, I'm really nervous. He said, well, there was a person before that came and gave a speech, and he was just like, I'd like to thank you all, have a good evening. And I was like, I think I'll steal that. I'll try to do just a tad bit better. I don't know that I can. But yes, it seems like growing up, I was always a year too late for everything. When Little League came along, I wanted to play Little League. Girls weren't allowed to play. When I was in high school, I wanted to play basketball, and of course had asked a previous basketball coach there if I could try out for the boys team. No, can't do that, although I know some other schools that did let the girls try out, and by the way, I was better than some of those guys. But anyway, so then I came to college. I didn't come to college to play basketball. I came to college for an education, for a teaching degree. And after I was here for, the first semester, then they're like, as you mentioned, Title IX came along, so we're going to start basketball. When I talked to Jesse, he asked me, he said, well, who all was on that basketball team? I thought, that's a really long time ago. So I dug out a yearbook. So I go back to look in the yearbook. Well, there was no picture in the yearbook. So I still dug back and tried to think of who all had played on the first basketball team. And I did come up with a few names for him. And I meant to start this with, first of all, thank the committee for recognizing me and Jesse. And as I told him earlier, I said, man, you had to dig a long way back. I said, where'd you find those old stone tablets anyway? He didn't really get my joke, but that's all right. But some of the players from back then, the first time I saw the picture of the basketball team from way back then was he gave me he sold me a book that he had written, which, thank you. And I looked back at the picture, there were 7 girls on the first basketball team. Of course, we weren't recruited. You know, the word got that put a poster up in the student union and said, anybody want to try out for basketball? Heck yeah, we're there. So there were 7 of us that were on the basketball team. And at that time, they hadn't even hired a coach. A student who was on a work shift program, I don't know if he volunteered, but he got hoodwinked into coaching us. And so we probably only played, I don't know, Jesse, what, 16 games our first season? Was it 8? Weren't very many anyway. We sure did put in a lot of time in the gym, but we didn't play very many games. So anyway, that was the beginning, and like he said, Title IX was the beginning of that, which we could probably spend all day talking about Title IX and the advancements we've made in women's athletics. And then the second year, they said, let's start a volleyball team. Let's do that. Another note up in the student union, anybody going to play volleyball? Well, I've kicked that thing around a little bit, and I'm all in for it. So Mrs. Chico was our volleyball coach at that time, and she probably didn't know a bit more about power volleyball than we did. So our first, I don't know how many matches we went to, every time one of us would touch a ball, the whistle would blow, illegal hit. What are we doing wrong? The official would say, well, it's supposed to make a ping when you hit it. So what were we supposed to do? Every time we set the ball, we could ping. They really weren't humored, and we did eventually learn how to play the game. So as we went along, of course, track came along. Go Janet. Janet's one of my teammates, by the way. When I started, I didn't really write a speech, and this could go anywhere from stolen gas caps to who knows what. But only Janet would understand it. But along the line, then, not just playing here at Glenville State University, I had the opportunity to coach girls. I had the opportunity to coach boys, which, my goodness, those are two different animals altogether. Girls, you started out with, this is a basketball. It's round. If you drop it, it'll come back to you. Hopefully, if it doesn't hit you in the foot. And boys are like, oh, can we run maybe North Carolina's offense this year? Well, as soon as you learn to go up and down the court and do what I tell you to do, we might visit that. So, two different animals completely. But I had a lot of opportunities coaching. As a matter of fact, I had a first also in my coaching career, and I have to go here, Braxton County High School started a softball team. I was the first coach of the Braxton County High School softball team, and my best friend who's sitting over here, I coached her at the time, and I don't know who we were playing or what the situation was. I know that there were 2 outs. She was up to bat, had runners on bases, count of 2 and 3. Sandy, I need you, unexpected to Rory 2 outs. Can't bunt on that third strike, can you? Well, I thought it was pretty good idea at the time. She's a pretty good bunter. I went, I need you to bunt. She said, you can't do that to me. What if I foul off? I said, well, we're 6 of one, half a dozen of another. What the heck? So sure enough, pulls it up, bunts, foul ball, you're out. And her famous words to me were, everybody's going to talk about it. I said, 20 years from now, nobody will even remember that. Well, we talk about that to this day. 20 years later, yeah, we remember. We do anyway. But anyway, it was quite an honor to get to play basketball here. And we have gone from no picture in the yearbook to Division II national champion. Go Lady Pioneers! I'm going to make it short and sweet. I know everybody's ready to get out of here. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Mike Singletary. Do you know what my favorite part of the game was? The opportunity to play. Thank you.
Okay, folks, this has been a very special evening. Celebration of some of Glenville's all-time greats. We'd ask when we break here that the Hall of Fame class, and I want Mark and Sarah to come up as well. We want to get a group picture up here of the class for us to have. We'd like you to remain for pictures, all you want to take here. And also out at the Waco Center, the plaques of the new Hall of Famers now on display. The cover has been taken off during the ceremony here, and that is out there, and the building's been unlocked for you all to go out there if you want to have some pictures. Thank you all for your time this evening. God bless West Virginia, Glenville, West Virginia, the center of the universe. Once a pioneer, always a pioneer. Be safe.